What's up guys, today we will be going over all the new shotgun changes in this update in Joker's Wild. We'll be going over the DPS of all the different types of shotguns, including 55, 65, 80, and 140 RPM shotguns, and also a few of the exotic ones. As you see, I have all kinds of shotguns in my character ready to test. So let's go ahead and begin with a few things to talk about all shotguns in general before we get into actual specific ones. So first, starting with full auto after the nerf and seeing what it does. So first I have a Balgant with full auto and now another one without it. As you see, they have the same impact and the same rate of fire. So we're just going to be testing what full auto actually does after the nerf. And as you see, without full auto, it takes 1.112 seconds to shoot off a full shot with the Balgant. Now with full auto on the Balgant, see how much faster it is now. It takes 0.975, which means full auto is roughly a 10% increased rate of fire now, which is not as much as it used to be, but still definitely noticeable. The next thing I want to talk about is another perk that increases rate of fire on shotguns, which is called Assault Mag. As you see, when you put it onto a weapon, it increases the RPM by 5, as you see right here. Then also on 80 RPMs, it goes from 80 to 90, which is interesting. So it increases the rate of fire. Let's see by how much. So first without it, 0.992 seconds. Now with Assault Mag on the exact same weapon, go ahead and shoot it again and see how much faster it is now. And now it only takes 0.889 seconds, which means Assault Mag is once again roughly 10% increase the rate of fire on whatever shotguns you can get it on. And for the purpose of this video, I will not be using Assault Mag on any shotgun unless I have to use it because it's curated, such as the new Game It Prime one. Last thing I want to talk about before we start breaking down actual shotguns is the difference in damage because of kinetic versus energy. So kinetic weapons do more damage than energy, but energy do more damage versus shields. So first with the EP shotgun, I hit 2742. Now with threat level, which is exact same impact, I hit 2879, which means kinetic shotguns of the same impact value do 5% more damage to this ogre and most enemies in the game that aren't shielded. Now we are finally ready to actually begin breaking down shotgun DPS in this video. So first we're going to talk about the aggressive frames, which are the 55 RPMs. So in the Kinetics slot, I have Toil and Trouble with full auto. Then I also have the new Game It Prime weapon, Last Man Standing, with full auto. And also Assault Mag, and it's curated, so I can't take it off. So it results in a 60 RPM. So first with the Toil and Trouble on the ogre, it hits 4864. Now we'll go ahead and test the rate of fire, shooting off 10 shots, which will be the norm for every single shotgun in this video. See how long it takes. It's going to take quite a while. It took 9.082 seconds. Now testing the Last Man Standing, which is the same RPM but with Assault Mag. And the energy slot, it hits 4632 on the ogre. Testing the rate of fire once again, shooting off 10 shots. Now with a 60 RPM instead of the 55 because of Assault Mag. And now it takes 8.175 seconds, meaning the DPS of Toil is 5,356, while Last Man Standing is 5,666. So definitely not great, but not too bad. Another thing about these type of shotguns is if you look at the intrinsic perk, it says hard hitting, high recoil, increases rate of fire after a kill. So let's go ahead and see what that means. So first, it took 0.906 seconds to shoot off one full shot. Now after getting a kill, see how much it goes up to now. Now it only takes 0.701. Then also on top of that, let's see how long it lasts for after you get a kill. So get a kill, start the timer, and have a faster rate of fire for roughly 4-ish seconds. It's hard to tell exactly when it drops off, but I'd imagine 4 seconds. So that's a 23% rate of fire increase for that 4 seconds, which means with the Last Man Standing, after a kill, you'd be doing roughly 7,000 DPS for that 4 seconds. But that's only after you get a kill. Now let's move on to the next type of shotgun, which is precision frame, which are the 65 RPM, such as the Dust Rock Blues, which I have right here with full auto, as you see right here. Then also for energy weapons, you can also get Retold Tell, which is another 65 RPM, but I do not have one with full auto. As you see, I do have Assault Mag on mine, but not full auto. So for these type of shotguns, I'm just going to test the Dust Rock Blues with full auto, and on the ogre hits 4393. Then testing the rate of fire, shooting off 10 shots once again. See how long it takes. It took 7.423 seconds, which means the DPS of the Dust Rock Blues is 5,918, which is a little bit better than the 55 RPMs, but not by that much, but still pretty good compared to all the other shotguns so far. Next up is the 80 RPM, such as the Parcel of Stardust from Gambit, the original Gambit. And as you see, I have full auto on it. Then also the Hawthorne's Field Forward Shotgun, which comes with full auto and Assault Mag, resulting in 90 RPM, where the Parcel without Assault Mag is only 80 RPM. So shooting at the ogre, these type of shotguns hit for 4,221. Then once again testing the rate of fire first with the Parcel Stardust with 80 RPM, shooting off 10 shots, see how long it takes. And it takes roughly just under 6 seconds. Then also with Hawthorne's Field Forge Shotgun with Assault Mag at 90 RPM. Let's go ahead and test the rate of fire of that too. Shooting off 10 shots. See how much faster it is now. And now it takes 5.627 seconds, meaning the DPS of the Parcel Stardust is 7,000. Then of Hawthorne's, it's roughly 7.5 thousand. So once again, higher DPS as we increase the rate of fire, which is definitely good. Finally, moving on to the last type of shotgun is the rapid fire frame 140 RPMs, which is the exact threat level, then also the Kello shotgun as you see right here. And they all have full auto built in. Shooting a regular shot, it hits 2742. Now with trench barrel on the EP shotgun, it now hits 4112. Testing the rate of fire of the EP shotgun, shooting off 10 shots, see how long it takes. It only takes 3.899 seconds. Also, to figure out the DPS of trench barrel, we're going to include meleeing, then shooting off 9 shots this time. So melee shoot 3, melee shoot 3, and that took 6.533 seconds. So the DPS of the EP shotgun base is 7,033. With trench barrel, it actually lowers to 6,214, including the melee damage, but it will increase the total damage output of the weapon by 50%. Now moving on to the threat level, which is the kinetic 140 RPM. That was the base damage on the ogre. Now with surrounded on the weapon, see how much it hits for. Hits for 4,198. And if we use the same rate of fire of EP shotgun, we get the base DPS of the threat level at roughly 7.4 thousand. Then with surrounded proc, 10,767, but that's only when 3 or more enemies are nearby at all times. Before we move on to the exotics, I want to show off how much ammo these weapons have. So first with the 65 and 55 RPM shotguns, I hold 17 and 18 between the two, so not too bad, but definitely not a lot. Then with the 80 RPM and 140 RPMs, the 80 RPM only holds 15, while the 140 holds 25 at base with no reserves. So 80s definitely lose out in this, and the 140s have a lot of ammo. First exotic I want to look at is Lord of Wolves, which is the burst pulse rifle like shotgun. So shooting at the ogre, I hit 911 headshots, then also 649 body shots, which is interesting because most shotguns only have a 10% crit modifier, and this one actually has a 40%, so it's definitely worth going for headshots with this weapon, and that's a larger chunk of its damage compared to a normal shotgun. Now testing the rate of fire, shooting off 10 bursts or 50 shots, it took 4.447 seconds, meaning the base DPS of Lord of Wolves on a body shot is 7,297, then on head it's 10,242. But the Lord of Wolves also has a perk where when you get a kill, it increases the number of shots per burst and also the damage of each individual shot. So now go ahead and test that out. First get a kill, now shoot at the ogre and see what the damage is. It now hits 1184 headshots, then 843 body shots, then also shoots 10 round bursts. So testing the rate of fire now with only 5 shots, but still that same 50 shots total shot. See how long that takes. It took 3.951 seconds. So with the perk on body shots, it now does 10,668 DPS, while on headshots, it almost hits 15,000 DPS, which is crazy. Now moving on to Legend of Acrius, which just got buffed recently. Now with the patch, they said it didn't change at all, but let's go ahead and see if that's actually true or not. So once again, shooting at the ogre, you hit 2 numbers right there. Now testing the rate of fire, once again shooting off 10 shots. It's going to take quite a while to shoot off all 10 shots. See how long it takes. It took just under 10 seconds to shoot off all 10 shots. So the DPS of Legend of Acrius is just under 11,000 now, which is lower than it was before. And I'm not sure why it got lowered. I don't think they meant to. It's just probably a side effect of all the other changes. The final exotic I want to talk about is Tractor Cannon. So on the ogre, without the buff, it hits 2195 twice. Then once it's been buffed, it now hits 3292 twice. So once again, final time, testing the rate of fire of the Tractor Cannon. See how long it takes to shoot off 10 shots. It took 6.619 seconds, meaning the DPS of Tractor Cannon is 9,616, which is actually pretty good for the Tractor Cannon, considering it can clear out multiple adds in one shot, then also buff everyone's damage by 33 or 50%. So there's a lot of things going on here. The number one thing is that shotguns got reworked in such a way where the 140 RPMs still dominate in terms of DPS compared to, 55, 65, and then even 80 RPM shotguns, but the damage per shot difference between those 4-tier shotguns is much wider than it used to be. So when you choose a 55 RPM shotgun over a 140, you're doing nearly double damage per shot. And before this update, almost every shotgun did the same amount of damage. The rapid fire frames just shot way faster than all the other ones, so they just destroyed everything else in terms of DPS. But now when you choose a 55 or 65, you're getting that higher damage per shot, which means you can one-shot majors, or even like two-shot higher tier ads, and things like that. And it almost feels like Destiny 1 again, where, you know, Found Verdict and that type of shotgun was useful in its own way. When you put on a 55 RPM shotgun now with full auto, it might not be the best DPS, but you're going to be one-shotting a lot of lanes, and it's going to feel extremely consistent compared to when you put on a 140, where, you know, it might take more shots to kill, you know, majors and whatnot, but when it comes down to that pure DPS, it's still there. So overall, all the shotguns, you know, 55 RPM, 65 RPM, 80 RPM, and 140 RPM, all feel useful in their own way now, which is definitely where they should be. Now I'm going to quote my good friend Flesh, which I've been playing with for over 4 years, who is also another great mind in the Destiny PvE universe. What he said about all these changes was, he likes where they ended up, but doesn't like the path to get there. I don't necessarily agree with, you know, messing with rate of fire instead of messing with damage, but if it results in this balance that we needed, then it's kind of like whatever, at least they got there. Now let's talk about a few of the exotics. Tractor Cannon was, in my opinion, one of the best guns in the history of the game already, and it got pretty much double damage. So not only is it really good for ad clear, really good for single target damage because of the buff and whatnot, it now also outpaces most shotguns in the game in terms of DPS. So in my opinion, it got even better. Not only is it one of the best ad clearing weapons in the history of the game, really good for support and, you know, buffing your team's damage, it also does more damage than most other weapons, so the weapon is insanely strong now. Then Acrius got a tiny nerf with this update, which they didn't want to, and said they didn't touch it, but it definitely went down in DPS. So I'd like to see it go back up a little bit more, back to where it was before, like that 12,000-13,000 range, because right now, like, Tractor Cannon is barely behind it, and it does arguably better ad clear and also buffs your team, so Acrius definitely needs to be either raised in terms of rate of fire or damage per shot. Finally, we get to Lord of Wolves, which, I'm going to say it, is absolutely broken and probably should be looked at. It strictly got double damage and didn't get touched anywhere else. And as you saw with the perk proc, it does 15,000 DPS on headshots, which is way higher than even like pre-nerf EP shotgun, pre-nerf trench barrel. And yes, I do understand it's exotic and it should feel exotic, but it's doing more DPS than every power weapon in the entire game except like Prospector and maybe Coil, which definitely shouldn't be a thing, which is the whole reason EP shotgun got nerfed into the ground, the whole reason shotguns got changed, to make the balance between primary, special, and power actually, you know, make sense. Before, shotguns were outdoing power weapons, so obviously they need to change that, but now we just have a new energy weapon outdoing power weapons. I would like to see Lord of Wolves be the king of DPS for shotguns. I mean, it is exotic, but it shouldn't be outdoing almost every power weapon in the game. Anyways, I think that's all I want to say about all these shotgun changes right now. Let me know what you think about them all. What were you surprised by? Were you surprised by Lord of Wolves? Were you surprised by 55 RPMs actually feeling pretty solid? And let me know what you've been using. Personally, I've been using the Last Man Standing, which is the 55 RPM Game at Prime curated roll. And it just feels really solid versus majors and all those good things. And it really reminds me of Found Verdict from Destiny 1, that feel again where it's not necessarily a fast rate of fire, but still gets all the work done that you need it to do. Anyways, thanks for watching. Catch you guys next time.
You